Kharg Island in Iran is where 20% of the world's oil reserves are held and coordinated. This is also a key piece of geography to the looming deadline that Donald Trump has with Iran in opening up the Strait of Hormuz. Here's the latest, and it ain't going well for Iran.
And also breaking this morning, sources confirming to Fox News that U.S. forces struck dozens of Iranian military targets on Kharg Island throughout the night.
So this as we are less than 12 hours away from President Trump's deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face obliteration.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Inks is live in Tel Aviv with the very latest. Hey, Trey, what can you tell us?
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. Fox News can confirm overnight the United States hit dozens of targets on Iran's Kharg Island. This is the island responsible for more than 90% of Iran's oil exports. Fox's Jennifer Griffin says the targets included bunkers, radar stations, and ammunition storage. As this was taking place, the clock is ticking as it relates to that deadline President Trump laid out Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, just about 12 hours from now, before Iran must make a deal with the United States, or the president says he will order strikes against Iranian power plants and bridges. This is what the president had to say yesterday.
I'm going to pause this just for a second. Look at the structure of this island, and let there be no doubt that U.S. Marines will be storming these beaches within hours of the 8 p.m. deadline. This is a strategic hold. This is also an extremely vulnerable area. Obviously, it's contained. It's a small island for American troops. So Donald Trump has been building up his boots options. His Marines are all over the area. And my feeling, and you tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, my feeling is Marines are going to be storming the beaches here real soon. Because ultimately, when you look at Venezuela, when you look at what's going on here, there is a key carrot for all of this, and that's controlling oil. With not only 80+% of Iran's oil coming through Kharg Island, 20% of the world's oil is not only going through the strait, but also going through all of the refineries and operations here by Iran. Let's get back to the story and hear the latest from Trump.
Today from the White House.
We have a plan, because of the power of our military, where every bridge in Iran will be decimated by 12 o'clock tomorrow night, where every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again. I mean, complete demolition by 12 o'clock. And it'll happen over a period of 4 hours if we wanted to. We don't want that to happen.
I want to pull up here the demands for the United States and Iran. You can see here some big differences. The U.S. is calling for the dismantlement of Iran's nuclear facilities, zero enriched uranium, missile constraints, the Strait of Hormuz being opened, and an end to Iran's support of groups like Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. Now, the Iranians are calling for guarantees as it relates to no further attacks, full sanctions relief, war compensation, a payment system for the Strait of Hormuz, and finally, the removal of regional U.S. bases. Now, the president told me over...
So again, let's look at these Iranian demands. I see maybe one or two of these potentially being an agreement point for J.D. Vance and the negotiations team. A guarantee of no further attacks? No way. Not going to happen. Sanctions relief? Not going to happen. War compensation? No way. New payment system for the Strait of Hormuz. I think they're going to be able to come to an agreement here, because ultimately America wants in on that. So we want to be able to design that, get a piece of the VIG, right, the transport tariff that's coming through the strait. And I think that there could probably be some reasonable way where Iran, under certain terms and constraints, can get a piece of that. Lastly, removal of the regional U.S. bases. There's no way. There's no way. So what Iran is doing is really just floating one of four, one of five options that's going to get any traction with the negotiations. Ultimately, though, and this is what you don't know because it doesn't mention it in this hit, and Donald Trump didn't mention it yesterday. Just this morning, the U.S. Air Force blew up all of the planes that the regime members and leaders of Iran were staging and using or preparing to use to escape the country with the pending deadline. So, their options are gone. Their exit plan has disappeared. How will that change the tenor, the tone, and the demands from Iran going into really what is the last 6 or 8 hours of this ultimate deadline from Trump?
The weekend that Iran isn't even negotiating anymore about their nuclear program and that they've conceded already on many issues. They said that a variety of different points the Iranians came to the table, but they have lost that leverage, according to the president. With this talk of diplomacy, we're also learning more about the daring rescue that happened over the weekend to save a stranded U.S. airman. High-level U.S. sources telling Fox News that while the airman rescue was ongoing, CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper directed a strike on an IRGC headquarters in an underground facility in Tehran. B-2 bombers were using bunker buster bombs, the same weapons used during Operation Midnight Hammer, to obliterate that IRGC headquarters. This just gives you a sense of how kinetic the activity is in Iran at the moment. The United States maintains the ability to operate freely in the skies of Iran. And while the B-2 bombers were dropping bombs on a target outside of the Iranian capital, south of the city of Isfahan, there were hundreds of U.S. Special Forces rescuing their stranded colleague. Guys?
I'm sorry, Trey. There's some breaking news on Truth Social.
Yeah.
Ainsley, do you want to read that?
Sure. So Donald Trump just posted this. A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionary, wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight, one of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran.
So again, we see Donald Trump is holding firm to this deadline. He's taken away all of the exit options for the Iranian leaders. And now Kharg Island is getting pummeled. Not the oil infrastructure, but everything else there. My feeling, and I want to hear about it from in the comments, so let me have it if I'm wrong, that Marines will be storming the beaches of Kharg Island within hours. Because he who holds the oil refineries really dictates the demands and the negotiations. Iran, their ability to subsidize their proxies, to rebuild, or to have any power over the people is essentially negated if they don't have their oil. I'm curious what you think. Let me know in the comments down below. Kharg Island is the key piece to the Strait of Hormuz opening and controlling the oil. That's where we sit right now. If you've yet to subscribe to America First Alerts, please do so. And by the way, you're not going to want to miss this. Our very next story is all of the details of the downed F-15 pilots, 2 of them. There was only 1 that we were aware of, but now the details are showing 2 pilots were down, and the heroic rescue operations that our Special Forces and Air Force reconnaissance teams did. You're not going to want to miss that. That's coming up next.